Hello, welcome to our daily broadcast. It's so funny, every time you see me come on, I'm kind of looking this way. It's because I'm looking for the live sign. We're live, we're here with you. Our topic today is how could I be wrong? And our broader topic today is how to ask effective questions. We're here every day, Monday to Friday, answering questions that you have about business or about life. So the topic today is how to ask more effective questions. How to ask more effective questions. Specifically, I'll be asking about this general category of questions of how could I be wrong, or other ways of looking at our problem. And the lens through which I'll be looking at this question of how could I be wrong will be through a set of cards that we created, self-coaching cards. And I'm going to go through the orange category with you. So let me give you a little structure, a little context, and let's just hammer it out with questions like, how could I be wrong? What's the benefit of them? How could we use those questions? All right. A couple of years ago, we created this deck of cards called What If It Were Easy cards. And these are cards, it's a deck of self-coaching cards. They are of 5 different categories, as you can see: the goal, the problem, the action, looking inside, and perspectives, along with some follow-up ending cards. So here's that deck, that beautiful deck of cards that I'm showing you. But what I really want to show you today is, if you are self-coaching, if somebody's coaching you, or if you're self-coaching, the first thing you want to do is, what is it? What's the problem you want to figure out? So the first card, or the first question you usually ask, here, I'll hold it up a little longer. What do you most want to figure out today? That's the goal. And this is why coaches, I think, are amazing. You can do a mini coaching session that just takes 5 minutes, and it's, what's the goal? How can you get there? Some coaching, and then what are your action steps? What have you learned? But let's slow down a little bit. That's how you would start with a goal. But in our deck of cards, now orange is here. I'm always trying to hold this close to you. Orange is about the problem. Red is about your action steps. Green is a little bit more about you, and blue is perspective. So I'm just showing you colors. But let's touch today. I want to take you through a set of questions about the problem. And I'm going to go through them one by one by just putting them on the screen really fast. Give me any comments, questions you have. The goal of today is, how can I ask more effective questions? And how can I ask more effective questions? By checking in with myself from a different lens, from a different perspective. In our orange deck of cards, in our orange cards in the deck, the first question we have is, what's the problem you want to solve? And you'll see that's by us, by Silicon Valley Change. What's the problem you want to solve? So even just as we're going through this, think for yourself, what is a problem you want to solve? What's something that's on your mind? And then here comes a card by one of our coaches, by Stella Grazant, and the card is, how might you look at this differently? So here's a problem, a situation that you have. How could you look at it differently? Let me also give you a little perspective as I'm going through these cards. Stella Grazant is one of our coaches. I'm a huge, huge Stella fan. She's been an executive coach for a long time. She's also a media personality. She has a wonderful system of happiness at work training. But Stella says, as she looks a little bit deeper at the question of what's the problem you want to solve, how might you look at the same problem differently? How could you do that? Going through the card. Giselle Timmerman, another one of our coaches, and I will show you her as well. Giselle says, okay, you might look at it that way, but Giselle, she's based in Spain, in Barcelona right now. She's American and has been a coach, also executive coach, for dozens of years, works at a corporate level often, in addition to individual coaching. So Giselle says, if you didn't think too much about this problem, what would your knee-jerk reaction be? What would be your snap reaction? Would you act as a victim, as a hero, as a villain, an avoider? So if you weren't thinking that much about it. All right, so we've got, what's the problem you might want to solve? How might you think about this differently? This is a question that Stella submitted to us for our deck of cards. And this is a question Giselle submitted about your snap decision, your knee-jerk reaction. And then this is one of my favorite ways of looking at things when there's a problem you want to solve. How could you be wrong? So even just now, as you're listening to me, how could you be wrong? How could you be wrong in a situation at work? How could you be wrong in a situation in your family? And we've all done this. We sort of stick our feet in the ground and stick our heads in the sand, and we think this is the way to do it. So let me show you in just a quick image of Shannon, who's the one who came up with this question of how could you be wrong? And this is Shannon, one of our coaches and one who especially specializes in executive presence. She's an actor, a former actor, and does a ton of workshops and trainings that people love. But she talks about how do you hold yourself? And as part of one of the things she thinks about, it's literally the question of how could you be wrong with what you've been thinking about? Let's go through 3 more questions, and that's it. This is the set of questions, the orange set, the set of questions that you can go through when you're looking at the problem itself. We haven't gotten to the action steps, but it just gives you a little bit deeper insight. All right, 3 more questions. What are you avoiding? In looking at this question right here, at this situation, what are you avoiding? What could you be avoiding? Let me show you Lisa. Lisa Zagarmi is one of our coaches who's fabulous, amazing. She works with executives. She works with resolving conflict situations. Incredible coach. And one of the things she asks, and she actually has two questions in this deck, is in this orange side of the deck is, what are you avoiding? Think about this problem. What are you avoiding? Where could you be wrong? And our last 2 questions for you is, what is not going the way you want to? What is not going the way you want it to? And Silicon Valley Change Meets it's a general question that we ask. And related to that, so this is all about the problem section. Another Lisa Zagarmi question. What have you intentionally let go of recently? So let me summarize. We have been in the problem-solving section. Thank you. A few of you are giving me comments like cool and wow. Yeah, we've been in the problem-solving section where we talk about what's the problem you want to solve. And I really encourage you to think about how could you be wrong? The way that you're thinking about this problem, how could you be wrong? That's it. That's what I want to leave you with. That's how I want you to think about it, because we want to be right and we want to solve things. But what if we looked at ourselves before getting to the solution? Thank you for joining us. This has been about a set of questions about how we ourselves could be wrong. All the best, and see you again Monday to Friday. See you tomorrow. We'll be here every day, 11 a.m. Pacific.